But she looked good, huh?
Man, tell her again. Tell her again.
Right? No, it's your turn. You have to.
Been telling her all week. She been killing it. She been making me look better, you know? For sure.
Be you. This the G'est shit he ever did. They was doing Straight Outta Compton movie, right? So Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, all them niggas calling me. Man, we trying to get Nip to play you in Straight Outta Compton. He ain't getting back to us. All right, let me holler at the little homie. Oh, yeah. I hit him up. Nip, let me holler at you. Pull up on me. He come over to the spot. God, they want you to play me in the Straight Outta Compton movie. I'm happy as a motherfucker to tell him. He like, no disrespect, big homie, but I can't play you in the movie because then people gonna just know me for being you. I gotta be me. And that's with all due respect. I was like, damn, that was gangsta as a motherfucker. I called him, I said, cuz, y'all gotta go find somebody else. Good. Okay, Batman or Superman?
Batman.
Batman? Okay.
Yeah, Batman. Batman had gadgets and gear and cars and mansions. Batman was balling. Batman had, you know what I'm saying?
I feel you. But the new Superman supposed to be a cold motherfucker.
Nah,
man.
Superman could fly. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
automatic. He was pop.
And his weakness was kryptonite.
See, I can't. How we gonna?
You right, girl.
What that sound like?
You right, girl. We can't fuck with Superman. So ain't fuck with you, so.
Do you remember where you were at when you heard?
At Mustard House, we was watching the Duke versus Michigan game. We was chilling on some bro shit, and then the homegirl, she called me.
Yeah.
She called me like, bro, they said Nipsey just got shot. Pray. And I'm like, what? I'm like, nah. And then she called back like, yeah, they say he got shot 4 times. And I'm like, what? Truck. I hopped in the truck and I'm leaving. I'm like, where y'all going? Where bro going? You feel me? They gave us the location where they was taking bro. And yeah, we was on the way, and like we was like 15, 20 minutes away. They like, homie ain't make it. I got to the hospital. His family was up there, Lauren was up there, everybody was up there, and it was just, yeah, it was crazy.
Who killed Tupac and Biggie? And I think both of these dudes were assassinated in some kind of way. More Biggie than Tupac. I think Tupac might got killed by a dude that they you know, had an incident with earlier that day. But Biggie's just seems a little
JFK.
governmental to me.
When you have a real connection with someone, it surpasses the physical aspect of your life. You're always inspired by them.
Yeah.
You're always wanting to honor them. You know, I'm constantly being reminded of things Hustle would tell me that now makes more sense now than it did then.
Yeah.
I just think it just really, that's why it is a LA love story.
Did Snoop Dogg's friendship with Lauren London hide something deeper? The clip that surfaced didn't just show Snoop smiling or chilling. It showed him side by side with Lauren, Nipsey Hussle's partner, and the woman who became the living symbol of his legacy after his death. And in an instant, the hip-hop community erupted. Because in that moment, standing next to Lauren wasn't just about showing support. It was about proximity to Nipsey Hussle's empire, the circle he built, and the influence he left behind. People started asking questions. Was Snoop just mourning a friend? Or was there a calculated move behind that smile? Lauren London's role after Nipsey's death was bigger than most realized. She wasn't just grieving in private. She became the voice of his memory. From tearful tributes at award shows to heartfelt speeches at the BET Awards, from front-page campaigns honoring Nipsey to documentaries leaning on her perspective, Lauren became the symbol of his loss. Every camera lens that followed her, every spotlight that hit her on stage, wasn't just capturing Lauren, it was capturing Nipsey's empire. And anyone standing beside her was suddenly cast in that light. Proximity to Lauren meant proximity to power, influence, and the weight of a legacy that people still argued over years later. After Nipsey was murdered in front of his Marathon store, Los Angeles didn't just lose a rapper. The city lost a builder, a visionary, someone who had risen from the block to ownership and independence, all while staying true to his roots. His death sent shockwaves through the community. Crowds flooded the streets, leaving flowers, candles, handwritten notes, and murals in his honor. Strangers hugged in the streets, overwhelmed by grief for a man many had never met, but whose life had touched them in profound ways. Nipsey wasn't just an artist. People streamed online. He was proof that someone could rise from nothing, build something meaningful, and create opportunities for those around him. And yet, grief quickly turned to tension. Nipsey's brother, Black Sam, became the protector of the empire, ensuring that anyone attempting to take advantage of Nipsey's absence would face consequences. Alliances fractured. Longtime associates clashed. Brick Baby admitted that his loyalty was questioned in the wake of Nipsey's death, and that loyalty disputes weren't just verbal. They carried weight, risk, and real danger. The streets were no longer a community. They were a chessboard. Charleston White even went on record suggesting that jealousy within Nipsey's circle contributed to his murder, a notion that only made the community more suspicious and wary of those close to the late rapper. Amid this chaos, the music industry watched, analyzed, and seized opportunity. Nipsey's independence made him dangerous to established powers. He owned his masters, controlled his brand, and challenged the system. Claims surfaced that industry figures like Puffy had attempted to destabilize Nipsey's circle, introducing harder drugs to weaken the movement. And Snoop Dogg's appearance next to Lauren London added fuel to the fire. To the public, he seemed like a friend mourning a loss. But to insiders and fans paying attention, his proximity was strategic. By standing with Lauren, Snoop gained credibility and positioned himself as an elder statesman of the West Coast, reinforcing his influence while the community was still in mourning. To understand why this raised eyebrows, you have to look at Snoop's history. Time and again, his actions after the deaths of other legends have been questioned. Tupac Shakur, one of the most iconic rappers ever, was gunned down in Las Vegas in 1996. Snoop was known as Pac's friend, recording together, partying together, standing on stages together. But behind the scenes, he maintained connections with people Pac considered enemies. After Pac's death, Snoop emerged as one of the loudest mourners while simultaneously working with those very figures. Allegations surfaced about him twisting stories, creating myths, and fabricating events to align himself with Pac's legacy. For example, Snoop once claimed Tupac introduced him to blunts, but accounts from Cameron Diaz and others show he had been immersed in that lifestyle long before meeting Pac. The narrative was convenient, positioning Snoop as the loyal brother, regardless of the reality. The pattern repeated itself with Biggie. Snoop claimed closeness after Pac's death, yet when Biggie visited California, there were no photos, no public hangouts, nothing to confirm the story. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, questioned why two supposed friends never crossed paths in real life, exposing a disconnect between Snoop's narrative and reality. And now, with Nipsey, history seemed to repeat. Snoop cried publicly, called Nipsey "my dear brother," and even dropped a tribute track. But soon after, he was seen with Big U, a man Nipsey had publicly warned against, a figure connected to extortion and threats within Nipsey's circle. Once again, Snoop aligned with someone closely tied to the late rapper's enemies, stepping forward to place himself at the center of the story after tragedy struck. The streets noticed, the fans noticed, and perceptions quickly hardened into reality. Snoop's positioning was not innocent. It carried implications, whether deliberate or not. By standing with Lauren London, by taking part in tributes and memorials, he solidified his proximity to Nipsey's legacy. And proximity in hip-hop isn't symbolic. It's power, it's influence, it's credibility. To some, it looked natural, a grieving friend honoring a fallen brother. To others, it looked calculated, even predatory. Either way, the footage became emblematic of a larger struggle over Nipsey's empire. But Nipsey's death wasn't just about power. It was a cultural earthquake. He had built more than music. He had built businesses, jobs, and opportunities in South Central Los Angeles. He had invested in tech startups, created STEM programs, and worked to ensure that the next generation had something he never did: stability, hope, and ownership. His album, Victory Lap, had cemented him as a Grammy-nominated star, but his vision stretched far beyond music. Nipsey wanted to be a mogul, a leader who could shift the balance of power in hip-hop away from corporations and into the hands of artists. Losing him wasn't just losing a rapper, it was losing a roadmap for independence, a mentor for emerging talent, and a guide for those trying to build legacies of their own. Artists felt the void immediately. Roddy Ricch has said Nipsey's support helped him break into the mainstream, giving advice, co-signing his talent, and pushing him to believe he could achieve more. YG, Nipsey's closest collaborator, admitted publicly that losing Nipsey felt like losing a brother. Kendrick Lamar saluted Nipsey as someone representing the best of Los Angeles, while Jay-Z quietly set up a trust fund for Nipsey's children, ensuring that even in death, his legacy would persist. Athletes, actors, politicians, everyone who admired Nipsey understood the depth of his impact. Murals, tattoos, hashtags, and songs now served as rallying points to keep his vision alive. But nothing could truly replace the future he had been building. And yet, whispers began to spread. Fans questioned whether this was just another tragic street story or if hidden hands had influenced events. Snoop's history, Lauren's proximity, industry rumors, all combined to create a picture that was as murky as it was compelling. Lauren London, once solely a grieving partner, now seemed like a pivotal figure in a power struggle nobody had anticipated. Snoop Dogg, the man who had repeatedly positioned himself as loyal after the deaths of legends, now appeared at the center of Nipsey's posthumous narrative. The pattern was hard to ignore. The same alignment with rivals after tragedy, the same rewriting of narratives, the same calculated presence, all pointed to a strategy that transcended mourning. As the chaos unfolded, the community demanded answers. Eric Holder may have pulled the trigger, but the question fans asked was bigger. Who really orchestrated the play? Who stood closest to Nipsey and yet allowed his enemies to operate? Could Lauren have been an insider, whether knowingly or unknowingly? And what about Snoop? Was he simply surviving in a complex world, or was he subtly shaping the story to position himself in a place of influence once again? The mourning turned into suspicion, suspicion into outrage, and outrage into a demand for clarity. Fans, artists, and insiders alike realized that Nipsey's death wasn't just a personal loss. It was a lesson in how loyalty, power, and strategy collide in the world of hip-hop. It wasn't enough to see Snoop crying or to read Lauren's speeches. Every action, every alliance, every appearance now carried weight. The streets and industry alike watched, knowing that the narrative itself could be weaponized, that perception could be leveraged as reality, and that proximity to a fallen legend could redefine influence for those still standing. And yet, despite all the controversy, one thing remains undeniable. Nipsey Hussle's vision endures. The marathon continues, murals still rise in his honor, hashtags still circulate, and his businesses and projects continue to support the community he loved. But the shadow of what might have been lingers. Nipsey's future, his plans, his mentorship, his blueprint for independence was stolen in the moment of his death. Whether by circumstance, betrayal, or strategy, that lost potential is what makes his story resonate so powerfully. Standing back, it's clear that Nipsey's death was never just a headline. It was a test of loyalty, a reflection of industry politics, and a mirror to the community he left behind. Lauren London's role, Snoop Dogg's positioning, and the industry forces at play all tell a story far more complex than anyone could see at first glance. The legacy of Nipsey Hussle is one of resilience, vision, and inspiration, but it is also a cautionary tale about power, proximity, and the fragile lines between loyalty and strategy. So when fans post murals, when artists dedicate songs, and when the world continues to honor Nipsey, it's more than tribute. It's a recognition of what was lost, what was stolen, and what remains to be fought for. The marathon continues, but the race is far from over. And the people standing closest to Nipsey? Their actions now, just as much as their words, will determine whether his vision survives, thrives, or fades into whispers of what could have been.